Yes, my feelings are still hurt from the comments that were made about my forehead today, and yes, I have been crying about it. But this comment was good enough that I have risen from the dead to show you that I was right. Because if there's one thing your girl will do, it is come to collect the receipts. Read it and weep! The Great Gatsby! Right there! Okay, but hear me out. This is this, and this is this, and this is this, and this is this, and this is giving this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this entire concept are giving this, and this, and this, are giving this, and this, and this, and this, are her, and he is him, but she and her book are also him, and he is him. Meet Lacey Barone, and this is this, and this, and this, and this, and this are literally giving this. As Jenny Han is a sucker for the classics, I have reason to believe that this sentence here by Conrad is an allusion to Jane Eyre, which was my favorite book when I was in high school. And I have it right here on my shelf. Let's take a look. Conrad in book 3 is confessing his love for Belly, and he says, "I have a feeling you'll always be here," as he claws at his heart. And in Jane Eyre, we have this idea between Mr. Rochester and Jane that they are like twins, this very cosmic soul connection, that they were destined to be together, and that there is this invisible string tying the two of them together. Let me read this to you. Mr. Rochester says, "I sometimes have a queer feeling with regard to you, especially when you are near me, as now. It is as if I had a string somewhere under my left ribs, tightly and inextricably knotted to a similar string situated in the corresponding quarter of your little frame. And if that boisterous channel and 200 miles or so of land come broad between us, I am afraid that cord of communion will be snapped. And then I've a nervous notion that I should take to bleeding inwardly. And as for you, you'd forget me." And Jane says, "That I should never, sir, you know." And then, of course, this is the scene where they both profess their love for one another. The idea is that two souls, though they come from completely different backgrounds, lifestyles, economic situations, classes, that they may be destined for one another and can understand one another in a way no other soul can. And that is the circumstance with Jane and Mr. Rochester. And of course, this story from the middle of the 19th century is not without its faults or its critique, but this idea of a cosmic relationship bound by an invisible string, I think, is also something that Jenny Han touches on in book 3 with Conrad and Belly, and of course her choice of the song Invisible String. Oh, it was so sweet for this season. So yeah, it's very Jane Eyre. It's also very Adam and Eve. It's also very like, I mean, which, okay, I don't know if you want to romanticize that, but it's very much, we were made for one another. We were bound to know each other. And from day one, it was like Conrad was meant for Belly, Belly was meant for Conrad. And theirs is a connection that will always infinitely comprehend one another in a way that no other soul possibly can compare to. Okay, but Conrad, all of season 2, giving Belly like literally all of his shirts, right? Like his sweater on their trip to the beach house, his brown sweatshirt, and then he reveals in episode 8 that he was also going to get her a Stanford sweatshirt. It's giving this. No, but you guys, this is what is also so funny that all of you seemed to miss, because not only is Jeremiah playing video games when Belly calls him and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, Conrad's missing." He's playing video games. Not only that, but in the morning, Belly gets on a bus first thing in the morning. You know how I know that? Because they get to Brown at the exact same time. How is that possible that they get to Brown at the same time unless she took a bus first thing in the morning and Jeremiah took his jolly time in the morning to drive to Brown to go find his brother? Yeah, he was so urgently worried about his brother. Be so real.
Belly, I'll always come and get you.
So this scene from last night was probably one of my favorites that I've ever seen with the three of them, but I loved it because Conrad was being such a jerk to them, which rightfully so, but I feel like Chris in that moment just really relinquished his inner teenager. Like, he was allowing himself to be that jerk when Conrad is witnessing all of this, seeing Belly and Jeremiah kissing, and he was literally getting ready to tell her that he still loved her. And then she's out there kissing Jeremiah. If I was in that position, I'd probably be pissed off too. But just the shots that he was throwing at Belly and Jeremiah were so funny, and they really were able to tell us something as viewers. The first thing that really stuck out to me was when he was saying, well, I don't know if you know, but Bella gets motion sickness when she reads in cars. Well, I don't think I've ever seen Jeremiah take a road trip with Belly. The only thing that we saw them driving together was when Belly and Jeremiah were driving back from Brown and they drove to Cousins, which I'm pretty sure was only an hour, hour and a half at most. Conrad literally drives to Philly, kidnaps Belly, they drive to Cousins, which I'm pretty sure is a 4 or 5 hour drive at least. So I feel like the only person that would really know that is Conrad. So I find that funny that somehow Jeremiah knew unless Belly told him. But the other thing that I wanted to point out was the Hunger Games in French book that makes another appearance. That got brought up, I think, in episode 1, where she's in her classroom at school and she's kind of daydreaming, and she has the Hunger Games book on her desk, which for people that have not read the Hunger Games and knows that there's another love triangle, there goes Jenny Han trying to throw in all the Easter eggs that she can. But the third thing that I wanted to point out was the brown sweatshirt, which I kind of talked about in a previous video, and Belly tries taking it off, and Jeremiah's like, it's okay, it's cold, just keep it. And then Conrad just has this look on his face he's so beyond happy that she still has it, and he's like, well, I was gonna buy you a Stanford sweatshirt because I got in, but Finch is fun. I was deceased laughing. He just brought out that inner jerk in that scene, but you could tell that he was hurting all throughout the episode. I felt so much sadness for him after last night. But yeah, this scene, definitely a top favorite for me.